Okay, so today I'm going to take you along on a trip with me and I'm going to show you how I light tackle jig for striped bass. Now today where I'm going is actually in the Potomac River. I live by Piney Point, and because my boat hasn't been working too great, I decided to stick really close to Piney Point. So I decided to start out really close to the boat ramp on a ledge that normally produces some fish this time of year. And honestly, I saw some marks on the screen, but there wasn't much else there. So while I had the time, I decided to record some footage and just showing me jigging. So you can see jigging basically is dropping down your line to the depth that you want and then doing some snaps. I call them snaps to get the fish back, or to get the lure back up. Now, I didn't last long there. There wasn't much on the fish finder, so I followed some birds that I saw going upriver, and sure enough, as I was going up there, I started seeing birds and boats, and I knew that there was going to be some sort of bite up there. Now I want to say a lot of people hesitate to go towards a fishing spot or towards a spot where there's lots of boats. I'm not that way. If I know that there's some fish there, it's a good intel to get some ideas of what to use. Now look, right here, this is every fisherman's dream. Of course, seeing those birds on the water just like that, not dipping or just kind of picking at the water, but actively crashing the water like that is just a sure sign that there's some feeding fish. And sure enough, a few minutes after getting there, I get my line in. I'm fishing about 20 feet of water and snapping. I missed one right there, and the second time, I get one on the drop right there. So this is actually the first fish that I've ever caught on my new maritime skiff. So it doesn't look like it's going to be a big one, but it's going to be a special one just because I know that this is the first one ever on this boat, and I always enjoy celebrating that. So I got it boat side, and it was about a 14 to 16 inch fish. Nothing too crazy, but still a blast on light tackle, of course. So you can see. Now this time of year, it's colder water and stuff like that, so doing catch and release is a lot more safe for the fish. There's a lot of studies that go into catch and release during this time of year, and it definitely shows that cold water released striped bass survive a lot better than those warm water striped bass. And we're starting to see that with the different closures and stuff during the summer season. While not ideal, they definitely are protecting the fish. So right back to fishing, and you can see what I'm doing is that snap jig. And my goal right now is I'm casting out away from the boat a little bit, counting between 2 and 3 seconds with an open reel, and then that's normally getting them down to that 20-foot range. Now today, definitely these fish were suspended at 20 feet. So you can see it right there. I'm giving it a cast out. That was about a 2 count. They were at probably 10 to 15 feet. And one snap, and then on that second snap, it's not a snap really, that was me setting the hook. So I could feel, as the lure was dropping down, I could feel a fish flick the line, basically is what it feels like, but they're actually inhaling the bait. And I'm setting the hook, and I'm a hard hook setter. I think people have called me Bill Dance and stuff like that before, but I really do feel like setting it like that, where it's that quick, you can catch the fish a lot easier. Now this was a little bit better of a fish. It was right around 20 and a quarter, and I'm sorry I didn't get many up close shots of these fish just because I was in a catch and release tournament, and this fish I decided to measure, so I wanted to get it in the boat and get it measured and get it back as soon as possible. So right back at it, you can see that's me jigging again there, and it's those short, sharp taps, not up and down lowering the rod, and there's a time and place for kind of jigging it up and down, but these are those short, sharp snaps. Someone said once it's like almost like drawing a check mark. I believe it was Sean Kimbrough, and that's a really great way to think of it. You're bringing the rod tip down to a point of that check mark and snapping it back up, and there we go. That's exactly what I did there, and that was a long cast down to about 30 feet and snapped it back up, and on the drop again is when that fish hit. And this one had a little bit more shoulders on it. I'm gonna let you just kind of watch and see. This one fought a lot better than the other ones, even though it ended up being about the same size as that 20 and a quarter. It was 20 and 3/4. All right, so again, I got this fish boat side, and like I said, this is the CCA tournament, so I decided I was going to be quick with these fish, get a measure and get them back. So I didn't have time to really show it to you, but that was 20 3/4, nice fat fish that was definitely feeding on some menhaden, and got it back in the water quickly. Now, I was done at that point. You know, I was supposed to catch 3 fish for the tournament, but I was cold, and the boat was still acting a little bit funny. I had some like stuttering of the engine and stuff like that. But on the way back, I definitely saw some fish on the finder, so I stopped, and you can see I swung and missed there. And that's always a frustrating thing, but I reset the line, meaning I let out a little more line, and I kept jigging, and I put it to the right distance, or the right depth, because as soon as I turned to look at the fish finder, I had another hit too. So that was super frustrating because I thought I would get my 3rd fish that I needed for the stringer, but it wasn't meant to be. So I decided to head back, just because it was acting funny, and I'm kind of glad I did, because as I was going back, this happened. Yep, that's my alarm that the engine is overheating, and it's the weirdest thing. It's because I'm going about 33 miles per hour at that point, and it always happens at that time. It doesn't happen if I stay around 27 miles per hour. It doesn't happen when I idle or at any other time. So there's got to be something going on at those higher speeds. Sure enough, is that if I turn the engine off and go again, it doesn't come back on. So it's definitely a momentary overheating. I'm not sure what it is. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think it might be. I have it going to an E-Tech mechanic, but I'm really curious to see what happens. All right, so back under the bridge at St. George Island and back to the boat ramp. All in all, you know, I caught 3 or 4 fish. It wasn't a banner day, but it was a good day to test out the boat. Didn't have to go far from home, and I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned a lot from watching this video, and if you have any questions about light tackle jigging, drop them in the comments right there, and I'd be happy to answer them in a separate video. And be sure to watch for the next video. I'm going to be going out again out of this area in the next week.